What's up, everybody? My name's Big Cam and welcome back to another Hot Toys figure unboxing and review. And today we are talking about a very special 1/6 scale Marvel figure, and that is the concept art series from Avengers Endgame, Iron Doctor Strange. So some Doctor Strange in a Iron Man suit, and this was apparently supposed to happen in Endgame but never did. So this is why it's concept art, and it says inspired by concept art from Avengers Infinity War as seen the art of Avengers Endgame. Ooh, so this is supposed to be maybe an Infinity War, but concept art from Endgame, but this is a movie masterpiece series die-cast figure. It is a sideshow exclusive. It has this like 3D, what is that? The Eye of Agamotto on top there. Very interesting. It says Iron Strange on top. Concept art series, Iron Strange, MMS 606 D41 1/6 scale collectible figure. Legal information around the back, a Disney sticker, store locations, all that type of stuff back there. And then you get this nice little Avengers logo on the side there. That's covering up probably the base, and this is probably the figure himself. You can see a little bit of like the Eye Agamotto in like the window in the Sanctum Sanctorum on the side of the box there. Very cool, but I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's pull this bad boy up out of this box and see what he's looking like. Whoa, what did I buy? Don't you love that when you buy stuff and then it comes in and then you start to unbox it and you're like, wait a second, what did I buy? Like, should I remember this? You know, like, I remember buying Iron Strange, but I certainly didn't look through the pictures, so I didn't see all of the accessories he comes with. I had no idea he was going to come with a background diorama display thing, so we'll definitely check that out in a moment and see what that's looking like. But he also comes with, like, these giant pieces in the back, some circles, some fire effects, so like obviously some magic stuff he can do, plus the Iron Man effects. I have no idea how this works. I'm not seeing an instruction sheet. I'm gonna need that, folks. Where's the instructions? Probably in here somewhere. We'll find it, we'll find it. But taking off the top of this Iron Strange cover here, I really have been doing a lot of die-cast figures recently, and I'm not mad at it. But ironically, this is my first Doctor Strange I'm unboxing, but this weekend we will also be doing another Doctor Strange, the Doctor Strange from Spider-Man No Way Home. But this one is a fucking Iron Doctor Strange. So just pulling him out of the box, take a first up close and personal look, little in-person look. He does look like the Mark 50, if you would, from Infinity War, but he has the Eye Agamotto and some Doctor Strange magnets or magic on his chest there. Of course, he's covered in plastic and all this. The Doctor Strange head sculpt has a little bit of blood smearing down the cheek. That looks cool. Very cool. And of course, this figure doesn't come with a mask because he wants to show off that Doctor Strange head sculpt. But he has like some magic hands for his iron suit, which is cool. Definitely some hands that Tony doesn't come with. Some magic hands, that's awesome. Some more magic pieces there. Some magic rings, some magic effects. Very cool. I'm still not seeing an instruction sheet. Not cool. Not cool at all. I need my instructions. Instructions! Ah! I'm a little lost, but it's okay. Looking good, Doctor Strange. Let's see what's on the bottom of this box. There's the instructions. Always read the instructions. I don't know why I got Russian all of a sudden. Well, German. Das instructions mach read. Oh, my batteries, Batman. Holy batteries. Oh, my goodness. How many freaking batteries does this guy come with? Oh, this was a mistake. This was a big mistake. Oh, this is going to cause effort. This is going to take a lot. I'm going to have to read those instructions, and I'm going to take out every single bit of these accessories and everything he comes with. I'm going to lay them out here on the desk in front of me, and then we're going to take a closer look at everything Mr. Iron Doctor Strange has to offer. Oh boy, everybody, we have the concept art series from Avengers Infinity War Endgame, where Iron Strange is in the Iron Man suit as Doctor Strange. It's a pretty badass looking figure. I can't wait to get it all lit up.
But with that being said, look at how many goddamn batteries come with this. I believe all of these light up. There's arms, there's, in the back, there's in the legs, like there is so many lights for this. So I'll spend probably the rest of today after I finish this little segment putting in all of these batteries in this figure and making sure everything lights up correctly. And hopefully my big fat hands can deal with these small little button cell batteries and it'll be okay. But you can see these giant, like, I'm not even sure what these are supposed to be, like little accessories that come off of his back and then, shoot big old blast at Thanos or something. And I think these lights up as well, but they also go on to the flight pole grabber that you can see right over there. And then this part, folds out and you can attach each one of these to this little clear plastic element and then have this big giant, like, beam behind him, and I think it will actually look pretty good in front of this backdrop. So that might be my final pose I go for, but the details on these are pretty insane. And then you just kind of pop off the back of this here, which I had already done, so it's not that loose normally, but they peg in 4 slots right there and some batteries, an on-off switch, so I'm very curious to see how this officially lights up and what it's going to look like. But not a bad looking accessory there. I wish some of my Iron Men came with something like this. But you can see they got 4 of those little pieces there, and we'll definitely show what that looks like all lit up in a moment. But there's also this special edition blue sword that looks freaking awesome, and this extras hand comes with the special edition version. So I don't think this comes with all of the Iron Stranges, but with mine, probably an accessory I might end up using, because this looks sick. There's also these 2 forearm cannons, which I think some of the other Iron Men come with, but these come with fists on the inside of it, so you can swap out those hands for other hands if you really wanted to as well. But I think I'm just going to leave him as this, because he comes with 2 fist hands already on the figure, so I don't need fist hands. But pretty cool, iron accessories. I'm pretty sure these will light up, so I'm curious to see what these will look like on the figure as well. But also kind of scary that I have to take off the whole forearm to be able to plug these in. But I'm sure it will work out in the end, I hope. But like I said, you have the 2 fist hands on the figure as well, plus the 2 fist hands that come inside those blasters, plus the special edition hand for the sword. But then you have some magical hands for Doctor Strange. Not symmetrical, but definitely, casting the magical Strange effect. But it's so funny to see the Strange type of hands in the Iron Men gauntlets. Like, that's so funny, but also, like, sick. And of course, there's just normal propulsor hands with the, little armor curving up so that he can actually put his hand up like that, or, out by his side flying, but probably more of a propulsor or shooting something in front of him hands. And then he's got some, fully articulating hands that I have in a couple of poses here, a piece and like a rock on. But you could do, whatever your imagination could come up with for these. Maybe some more Doctor Strange-esque poses with these hands. But I don't know. Some of the other hands he comes with are awesome. So I don't even know if I'll end up using these. Where for most of the Iron Men figures, I end up using hands like these because they don't come with a whole lot. And these give you more, accessibility, plus you don't have to swap out the hands to be able to do whatever pose you want, so I normally rep these, but for Iron Strange I probably will use some of his other hands. And don't worry, we'll look at that figure and his base and that backdrop in just a second, just to look at some of these blue magical effects that are kind of cool. That probably plugs into a couple of the fingers for Doctor Strange here. And then he's got a couple around his wrist like the other Doctor Strange. I believe this one goes around his forearm, and then this goes right around his wrist, so it kind of has like this doubled up layer effect to it, or maybe even vice versa, who knows. But then there's also these 2 bigger discs here, and those are kind of cool looking. There's kind of like orange ones that come with the other Doctor Strange figure I unboxed this weekend, but normally the other ones had like, a spot for his hand to plug in, so I'm not really sure where the hand would plug in for this one, but I'll figure it out. I'll read the instructions in just a moment. because I'll definitely need to read the instructions to figure out what the hell this is, because I think, you know, I read it once already, but I'm going to have to read it again, because I think the index finger and pinky finger go right there. But then, like, what the hell type of thing is that? You know, like, just a giant magical effect with the kind of Tony Stark blue instead of the orange. I don't know, but I'll try it out, but I don't think this is going to be an accessory I end up using the whole time. But down by the base for Iron Strange on the front there, you can see, and then the actual base itself has like this printed little diorama-esque thing on it, because I think it's supposed to play off of the same type of bluish designed backdrop behind him, which I think is like just there in space somewhere with like the giant space in the background and like this ship. Maybe this is Colossidian's, or what was the other guy's name, Ebony Maw's ship. You know, maybe that's what this is supposed to be. They're supposed to be on Ebony's ship, and maybe in that movie, instead of just having Spider-Man help Iron Man get Doctor Strange out of his like trap that he's in, maybe Tony gave Iron Strange his suit so Strange could get himself out of there. I don't know, but I would have totally loved seeing this in the movies, you know. And like, it's not a one-for-one design from the Mark 50 either. The boots are a little bit different, the chest symbols obviously different, you know. And that Doctor Strange Iron Man chest logo actually looks sick. But then getting up close and personal for that Doctor Strange head sculpt, the hair's a little bit more, you know, wet and drooped down forward, but then it's got like this scratch on his forehead and it's bleeding down his cheek. I'm sure I could swap out this head sculpt, but this is definitely the one that comes for this figure, and I'm probably going to leave it with him because he looks friggin' awesome. That beard looks great, and just like the scowl, the Doctor Strange scowl, like you can tell he's pissed, he's not in a good mood, and, you know, he's ready to kick Thanos' ass, you know, like pretty cool friggin' figure. I love the way this figure looks, and I can't wait now to try out some of these accessories and see what he can do. But man, oh man, these are a lot of accessories, so it's going to need some setup time. Like I was saying, I'm going to need to put this on the flight pole and then attach the little, whatever you would call these, the Stark extra back shooters. I don't know, what would you call those? Comment below. But I don't know, I really want to try out that sword. So now I'm going to have to go through and see what Iron Strange is capable of, but I'm going to have to plug in all of these batteries, you know. So the next time you see this bad boy, he's going to be all lit up, and I'm going to have his backdrop set up probably, or I might just jump into the posing section and then end out with him all lit up and show you guys what that's looking like. But depending on how much I struggle over the rest of today, you might see him all lit up, or you might cut to a posing segment. But let's see what Doctor Strange is capable of. All right, everybody, we got a nice tight close-up here for Iron Strange, but I just wanted to show, because maybe you were at home struggling trying to find the battery compartments and the instructions don't do the best of job showing it. So you have to pop off each leg panel. Those are like the pegs that they go into, but you should turn them on. And then lights come on there. Probably should be a footlight, but no footlight and no real lights on the back. So, you know, they probably could have thrown more lights in for just the leg ones, but you pop that panel back on there after, like so. Just pops right back in there, and now you're seamless again, but now you have the light up features. Same thing on the other side, and then I'll put all the pieces back. But you have, see these dim lights, those are the back lights. Flip those on, bam, you can see all the ones that just turned on. And now the chest reactor is on with the, I believe if you take off this chest panel, which I don't want to do, it's just a normal chest reactor underneath there, and then they put a green piece of film on it so that it glows green, and it actually looks more green in person than it does on camera right there. But then the only other two of the light up features were behind the biceps, and I was like, okay, you know, or the tricep area, and I found this and I put the batteries in, and then I was looking for the light up, you know, where's the switch? And it's really only that light in the hand that lights up for this one. So I was like, is it worth it? But then, you know, all the other ones were on, so I was like, I have to find this switch. It's got to be here somewhere. It's on the upper inside of the bicep, and you have to take off another little piece that goes up in there. But there's the switch right there if you guys were looking. And I know I was watching videos and nobody showed it. So I was like, where the hell is this switch? Up real in that armpit. You have to, there's even like a little spot for you to stick your fingernail underneath to pry open that slot. But that is where the light up feature is. And the only reason I ended up finding it is because I had to use the process of elimination that eventually there's an accessory that takes off the forearms. So the switch couldn't be in here because the new forearms still light up. So it had to be somewhere up here in this arm. And then I found it behind the bicep there. But what a terrible location for a switch. Like, that's awful. And like, I don't mind this type of battery switch, but it really should be easier than what they have going on. You know, like now that everything's on and I put all the panels back on, you know, it's going to be a hassle once again at the end of this to take all the panels back off and turn off the batteries. Like, so dumb, you know, but better than, I guess, having a figure that's supposed to light up and can't, you know. But I'm going to go toss the panels back on this guy. I just wanted to show you guys what he looked like all lit up and what that's looking like. And actually quite bright in person here. And I hope that's picking up on camera how bright these are. But yeah, so why don't we jump into the posing section for this Doctor Strange in his Iron Strange suit. Very interesting figure, nice little concept art figure. I hope they do more of these, you know, like it's kind of cool that you can have one of your favorite characters, but in this one-off concept art of a scene that could have been in a movie but wasn't, you know? So as much as I love having the figures from the movie, I think this concept art figure is a really cool one. But let's not waste any more time. Let's slide on into the posing section of this video and see what Mr. Iron Strange is capable of. All right, everybody, we have Iron Doctor Strange standing straight up and down on the turntable for us here, just how he comes out of the box, but with all of his light up effects turned on. And then I have his magic hands where he's kind of, you know, doing his little magical hand poses as if he's about to cast some magic against his enemies. And then I have both of his magical discs attached to his hands, and he's kind of in a battle-ready stance, like he's about to take on some shots from maybe Ebony Maw from Infinity War. And then I have the Sideshow exclusive magical sword that Doctor Strange comes with, and the double-ringed big magic effect that he comes with out in front of him in his other hand. And then I have him as if he's stepping through the portal or flying through the portal. And he has his energy displacer sentries behind him, is what they call those little sentry things light up behind him. And he's got the sword and a little square magical effect out in front of him. And as he's flying through, I kind of like this pose. But the final pose I went with, and I might actually go back to that last pose, but the final pose I went with is the sentries lit up behind him, and he's got the double arm cannons attached, and they actually went on much easier than I would have thought, but not the best posability with them. You know, you can only get the arms so far up before they start interfering with the shoulder panels, and you don't want to break anything while you're trying to pose this figure aggressively. So I tried my best here for you, but I'm still not the best poser as is. But I hope these poses or this video helped you guys out in some way, either getting your figure into poses or in the unboxing experience, hopefully finding out where the lights go and that whole segment, you know, hopefully it helps you out in your unboxing experiment. But there's only one other thing I'd like to do with this figure, and that is toss my only other Doctor Strange in my collection next to this bad boy and see what he's looking like. All right, so this little side-by-side comparison we got here with the Doctor Strange from Spider-Man No Way Home. And if you guys are wondering, this figure unboxing comes out tomorrow. So if you guys want to check that out, make sure you stay tuned. But this is my only other Doctor Strange at the current moment in the collection. So this Iron Strange is definitely going to be a unique figure, and it's definitely going to take up some space with that background and the light up effects and stuff like that. I wish I could leave this lit up permanently in my collection, but unfortunately, I think I'm going to turn everything off on him, and if it looks terrible turned off, I might end up going back to a different pose. But, you know, the only other things that are really a downside for this figure, other than the fact that it's lit up by a ton of button cell batteries, is the fact that it's really just a Mark 50 Iron Man suit with just a couple of different accessories. The chest emblem is a Doctor Strange emblem, and then you come with a Doctor Strange head sculpt. But if I had an Iron Man Mark 50, I think this suit would be pretty much exactly the same. And I've yet to get my Mark 50, so I'll have to do that eventually. But if I did have it, I would have tossed that figure next to this Iron Strange as well. So maybe in the future, when I get in Mark 50 Tony Stark, I can toss him next to this Iron Strange and see how they compare. And then maybe even toss the Mark 50 in front of these little Sentry, whatever they called them, light up effect things that are behind him. I think it would work a lot better for Tony than, say, Doctor Strange here. But hey, it's Iron Strange for this guy. And, you know, the only real downside for this figure is that the magical effect in the background, it looks great, but it's just too small, you know? Like, what is it, just his legs are supposed to come through the portal, you know, or he's supposed to crawl through the portal, you know? Like, the portal itself should have been bigger. And I don't even think they needed to do it in hard plastic on the base. If they were already going to give us this background diorama, you know, thing, maybe they should have done it just on the backdrop and then, you know, make it this larger, bigger portal. But I don't know. I'm not totally mad at the backdrop or the magical effects. And this was a figure that I was able to get for free when ordering a bunch of other figures for the Black Friday deals. So out of the figures I ordered this year, sure, I spent a whole bunch of money, but I was able to get Iron Strange here and the Mark 1 Tony Stark, you know, Iron Man Mark 1. And both of those I got for free because of the Black Friday sales. So, you know, normally probably $300-400 figures, and I was able to get them in addition to purchasing a bunch of other figures with the Black Friday deals. So definitely good time of year to be buying stuff off of the Sideshow or Hot Toys website, and definitely try to get as many deals as you can get and as much money off for these things as you can get, because they are a bit expensive. But if you want to take a closer look in more detail at that Doctor Strange from Spider-Man No Way Home, make sure you stick around for tomorrow's unboxing video. And if you made it this far into the video, I highly appreciate y'all. Thank you for clicking on this video and sticking around this far to the end. And if you would like to support the channel or message me on my other social medias, links for those are down in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel, the best way of doing that is liking this video, commenting down below, subscribing if you haven't already, and hitting that bell so you don't miss the next figure unboxing and you get the notifications when those come out. And stay tuned for next week. The 75th figure unboxing will be on the channel, along with a 75 figure collection tour to end out the year. And it's going to be probably right around Christmas by the time that comes out. I can't wait. So another exciting Hot Toys unboxing weekend coming up here in the next couple weeks. We're going to end out 2025 strong, and then heading into 2026, we have a bunch of figures to unbox. So make sure you guys stay tuned for some more fun and some more unboxings coming your way. Once again, my name is Big Cam. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you comment below who do you want to see me unbox next, and I will see you beautiful people in the next video. Peace.